Hello there! In this video, I will be showing how you can create interior and exterior home designs, including room layouts and 3D previews on your PC and Chromebook systems running Linux. I will demonstrate using the built-in libraries, including furniture, windows, doors, landscape features, trees, roadways, vehicles, people, animals, and textures. I will also demonstrate how to resize, color, and texturize objects. In addition to that, I will show how to take photorealistic pictures of your designs. Other topics I will be covering are importing both pre-made as well as your own textures and furniture models, copying elements from one design to another, and how to print a design including its specifications, images, and dimensions to PDF. In the app, we will be using the drag and drop functionality for adding objects will make designing a breeze. This is a Media Blitz format that will allow me to share topics faster and keep pace with frequently updated topics. My channel focuses on adding the power of Linux to your Android, Chromebook, or PC without the need to root or remove your system. Additionally, I cover cross-platform topics. My playlists are available from the homepage on my YouTube channel and are organized by operating system and cross-platform topics. To make it easier to follow along with my videos, I include the full written instructions in the pinned comment. So if you scroll down to the comments of the current video you are watching now, you will see the top pinned comment containing the written instructions. To see the whole comment, click on Read More. Any updates will be noted at the top of the pinned comment. Note that you can copy and paste the notes into a text file like I have here with the mousepad text editor. Or, if you're feeling fancy, we can copy and paste the notes into a TiddlyWiki notebook, also known as Flexible Offline Searchable Notes. Here I pressed the backtick key from the top left of the keyboard so that there are 3 backticks before and after the text. This will apply monospaced block formatting. Keep in mind that you can modify the notes however you'd like, whether that's formatting, adding images, or changing what's in the notes. For more information on TiddlyWiki, I recommend watching my TiddlyWiki videos. That concludes the intro, now onward to the video. To create home designs, we will be using Sweet Home 3D. Before we install Sweet Home 3D, we are going to modify the sources file so that we can install additional furniture models that we can use. To do that, we can open up a terminal, and from a terminal we can first execute cd /etc/apt. This will take us to the /etc/apt file path. Here we can execute ls to list the files. From here we are going to execute sudo cp sources.list sources.bak. If you already have a file named sources.bak, then you can number them so that the file name is sources.bak1, sources.bak2, and so on. Once we've done that, we can execute ls again to list the files. Here we should see the sources.list file along with the backup copy of the sources.list file that we created. Next, we are going to execute sudo nano sources.list. This will open the sources.list file with the nano text editor. From the sources.list file, at the end of the line that has the version of Debian and the word main, we are going to add contrib non-free. Once we've done that, we can do Ctrl-O, Enter, and Ctrl-X to save the file and exit nano. Since we edited the sources.list file, we are going to execute sudo apt update -y. This will update the software index list. When we are done doing that, we can close out of the terminal. Now I am going to use Synaptic Package Manager to install Sweet Home 3D by going to the menu, and in the Preferences category, I am going to click on Synaptic Package Manager. When Synaptic opens, we can click the Reload button from the top left to update the list of available packages. When that's done, we can click the Search button from the top right, and then we can search by name for Sweet Home. Then in the search results, we can right-click on Sweet Home 3D, select Mark for Installation, click on the Mark button for the additional required changes, and then to install Sweet Home 3D, we can click on the Apply button near the top left, and then click the second Apply button to confirm the install. When that's done installing, we can click on the Close button in the Changes Applied window. Now we are going to repeat this process for the rest of the packages that start with Sweet Home 3D. So here I am installing Sweet Home 3D-Furniture-Editor. This allows us to create our own library of furniture. Next up, I am installing Sweet Home 3D-Furniture-Non-Free. This provides a lot of additional furniture models that we can use. Now after that, I am installing Sweet Home 3D-Textures-Editor. This allows us to create our own libraries of textures. Now for our last install, we can click the search button from the top right, and then search by name for printer-driver-cups. From here we can right-click on printer-driver-cups-PDF, select Mark for Installation, then we can click the Apply button near the top left, and then click the second Apply button to confirm the install. This will help later on with printing Sweet Home 3D designs to PDF. When that's done, we can click on the Close button in the Changes Applied window, and then we can close out of Synaptic. For Chromebooks, in order to run Sweet Home 3D, we need to modify how it is launched. The solution differs based on whether the Chromebook is running Debian 12 or Debian 13. Also for PCs, if you experience performance-related issues, then you can try applying the fix that's used for Chromebooks based on the version of Debian you are using. For Chromebooks that are on Debian 12, we can open up a terminal, and here we can first execute cd/usr/bin. This will take us to the /usr/bin file path. From here we can execute sudo cp sweethome3d sweethome3d.bak. This will create a copy of Sweet Home 3D and it will be named sweethome3d.bak. Once we've done that, we can execute ls/suite*. This will list all the files that start with suite. Here we can see both the Sweet Home 3D file and the copy we created, which is named sweethome3d.bak. Now that we've seen that we have successfully created a backup copy of Sweet Home 3D, we are now going to execute sudo nano sweethome3d. This will open the Sweet Home 3D file with the nano text editor. From this file, a few lines down, we are going to set -dsun.java2d.opengl from true to false. This will resolve parts of the Sweet Home 3D interface going black. When we are done making that change, we can do Ctrl-O, Enter, and Ctrl-X to save the file and exit Nano. For Chromebooks running Debian 13, we can fix Sweet Home 3D by going to the menu, and in the Graphics category, we can right-click Sweet Home 3D, select Properties. Then in the window that comes up, we can go to the Desktop Entry tab. Here I am maximizing the window so it will be easier to see the whole command. Now here we are going to replace the existing command with java -jar ////sweethome3d/sweethome3d.jar. This will resolve parts of the Sweet Home 3D interface turning black. When we are done editing the launch command for Sweet Home 3D, we can click the OK button from the bottom right to apply the change. Now on all devices, we can open Sweet Home 3D by going to the menu, and in the Graphics category, we can click on Sweet Home 3D. In Sweet Home 3D, we can open up a demo by going to the File menu from the top left, select New from Demo, and in the window that comes up we can select a demo. For this example, I am selecting the 4-bedroom house. Once we have selected a demo, we can click the Use Selected Demo button from the bottom left. Once we've done that, we can close out of the blank project window, and then maximize the window that has the demo. If we are using the LXDE desktop, then we can toggle full screen by doing Alt F11 on our keyboard. Depending on the desktop being used, the keyboard shortcut for making a window full screen may differ or it may not exist. Now before we navigate around in Sweet Home 3D, we are going to make some configurations. To do that, we can go to the File menu from the top left, select Preferences. Then in the Preferences window, we can first set the unit dropdown to our desired unit. After that, for the Furniture Catalog view, we can select Searchable List. The searchable list makes it easier to find and view furniture from the Furniture Catalog. After that, we are also going to check Enabled for Aerial View Centered on Selection. This will make it easier to view parts of the design that are away from the overall center. Next, for furniture icons in plan, we can select Top View. Note that for devices running Debian 12, this option will be grayed out. Finally, for room rendering in plan, we can select Floor Color or Texture. This will make the floors in the 2D home plan colorful as opposed to black and white. When we are done making those configurations, we can click on the OK button. Here we can immediately see the changes being applied. So the overall interface is divided into 4 panes. The top right pane is the home plan where we create the home and make the majority of edits. The bottom right pane is the home 3D view which reflects what's in the home plan. The top left pane is the Furniture Catalog where we can drag and drop furniture into the home plan. This also includes non-furniture models such as windows, doors, characters, and more. Lastly, the bottom left pane is the Furniture List. This is useful for editing and selecting furniture as well as toggling furniture visibility and more. Keep in mind that you can drag the edges of the panes to resize them to your liking. By default, the Home 3D view has an aerial view. To rotate the view, we can hold a left click and then drag the mouse. To zoom in and out, we can press the up or down arrow keys. Note that you can also navigate the 3D view by clicking the buttons from the top left of the 3D view. Now, if we want to see all the layers of a project at once, we can right-click inside the Home 3D view and select Display All Levels. So for the 4-bedroom house demo, we can see what the house looks like with a roof. Now to go back to displaying a selected level, we can right-click inside the Home 3D view, and this time we can select Display Selected Level. Now to get a 3D view of a different level, we can select another tab from the top left of the home plan. Here I selected the roof tab of this demo, so now I can see what the roof level looks like. To get a better view of a different part of the 3D view, we can select anything from the home plan. To zoom in and out of the home plan, we can click the zoom in or zoom out buttons from the top. To pan the home plan, we can click the pan button that has the hand icon from the buttons at the top. Then to pan, we can do a left click in the home plan and drag the mouse. Alternatively, we can also use the scroll bars from the right and bottom of the home plan. To go back to selecting, we can click the select button with the mouse icon from the top. Here I selected the bathtub near the left side of the home plan, so now we can get a much better view of the rooms that are away from the center of this design. This happens because we enabled aerial view centered on selection in preferences a few moments ago. To go back to having the focus of the aerial view be on the overall center of the whole design, we can click on a blank space in the home plan. Here we can see the focus is now back at the center. Now to make the 3D view full screen, we can right-click inside the Home 3D view and select Display in Separate Window. Here we can maximize the Home 3D View window, and if we'd like, we can make it full screen by doing Alt F11 on our keyboard. So now we have a lot more space for looking at the 3D view. To put the window back, we can do Alt F11 again to toggle off full screen, then right-click the 3D view, and select Display in Main Window. In addition to the aerial view, we can also get a free range on what we can see by switching to Virtual Visit. To do that, we can right-click inside the 3D view, and select Virtual Visit. Here I moved around in the home plan to get a better focus on the visitor that appears in the home plan when we use the Virtual Visit view. To rotate the 3D view, we can do a left click in the 3D view and drag the mouse. To move forwards or backwards, we can press the up or down arrow keys. Lastly, to turn left or right, we can press the left or right arrow keys. Note that you can also press the buttons from the top left of the 3D view as an alternative for navigating the Virtual Visit. Another way we can move the visitor is by dragging the visitor in the home plan and moving it to wherever we'd like. Here I moved the visitor over to the kitchen. After that, I zoomed in on the visitor in the home plan so it's easier to see what I am doing. Now if we hover the mouse to the right side of the visitor until the mouse changes into circular arrows, we can then hold a left click and drag the mouse in order to rotate the visitor. So now my visitor is focused on the kitchen as opposed to the wall. To adjust the angle of the visitor's view, we can hover the mouse on the left side of the visitor until the mouse changes into circular arrows. From there we can hold a left click and drag the mouse in front of and behind the visitor to adjust the angle. Finally, we can hover the mouse towards the back of the visitor this time until we get an arrow that points down, and then we can hold a left click and drag the mouse up or down to adjust the elevation of the visitor. So here I am adjusting the view to my liking. To save a point of view, we can right-click inside the 3D view, select Store Point of View, and from here we can name the point of view, which for my example I will be naming Kitchen. Once we've done that, we can click the OK button. So now to view a saved point of view, we can right-click in the 3D view, and under Go to Point of View, we can select a view. Here we can see there are already some other saved points of view. So for this example, I am going to select Living Room, and this will move my visitor over to the living room. Now to go back to my kitchen point of view, I can right-click inside the 3D view again, and under Go to Point of View, I'm going to select the kitchen view. This will take me back to the point of view that I saved for the kitchen. A neat trick we can do with Sweet Home 3D is we can create high-resolution pictures based on where we are in the 3D view. So here I am going back to the living room point of view by right-clicking inside the 3D view again, and in Go to Point of View, I am selecting Living Room. Depending on the lights that are put in a room, they can be a bit intense when we render a nice photo. So before we render a picture, I am going to show how to adjust the brightness of the 3 lights in the living room, and then we will add another light source. To do that, we can select all 3 lights from the living room in the home plan by clicking the light that's on the wall right behind the table, hold the Shift key, then click the light that's on the wall above the drawers, and then click the light that's next to the TV. With the lights selected, we can right-click on one of the lights, select Modify Furniture, and then in the window that comes up, we can set the light power from the bottom right to 10%. Once we've done that, we can click the OK button. On PCs, usually when editing furniture, the 3D view turns completely white. To fix that, we can either click inside the home plan, or we can rotate the 3D view ever so slightly. This should make the 3D view reappear. To prevent this from occurring, you can apply one of the fixes for the Chromebooks based on the version of Debian you are using, which I covered earlier in this video in the Chromebook Fix section. Because we significantly toned down the lights, we are going to add another light source. To do that, we can click the category drop-down from the furniture catalog near the top left and select Lights. Here we can drag the incandescent light bulb from the furniture catalog over to the home plan near the center of the living room between the couch and table. Note that you can experiment with the number, type, power level, and position of the lights to see how they affect the photo. Now to create a photo, we can first right-click inside the 3D view, select Display in Separate Window, and then we can maximize the window. So when we render a photo, this is the point of view it will have. To create a photo, we can right-click inside the 3D view and select Create Photo. Here I am maximizing the window that comes up. From the Create Photo window, we can set the proportion drop-down to whatever we would like. For this example, I am going to use a 16:9 proportion. After that, I am going to set the width to 1920. Note that the larger the picture, the more time it will take to render. Next, I am setting the quality slider all the way to the best quality we can have. Again, the higher the quality, the longer it will take for the picture to render. Finally, I am going to uncheck Add Ceiling Lights. Now for this example, I am going to keep everything else as is. Keep in mind, you can adjust the other settings such as the time of day to see how they affect the photo. When we are ready to create the photo, we can click on the Create button. Depending on the size, quality, the design, and the device we are using, the time it takes may vary. On my Chromebook, it took less than an hour to render a photo of this design. When the photo is done rendering, we can click the Save button. Then we can navigate to where we want to save the file as well as set the file name. After that, we can click the Save button. Now here I am opening up a file manager, then I am navigating to where I saved the picture, and here I am opening the picture so we can get a better look at it. So now we know how to create high quality photos of the 3D view. Now let's create our own project. Here I am just closing out of the living room image and the file manager, and then I am going back to the Sweet Home 3D demo. After that, I am closing out of the Create Photo window, and then I am going back to displaying the 3D view in the main window. To create a new project, we can go to the File menu from the top left, select New, and then wait a moment for the new project to open. After that, we can close out of the demo window. If we don't want to save the changes we made to the demo, then we can click the Do Not Save button. Now here I am maximizing the new project window and doing Alt F11 to make it full screen. Now first things first, let's get some grass and a sky. To do that, we can right-click inside the 3D view and select Modify 3D View. In the window that comes up under Ground, we can click the box next to Texture, and here we can select a texture for the ground. If you notice that I have more textures here, it's because I imported a texture library, which I will show how to do later in this video. For this example, I am selecting the floor grass texture, and then I am also setting the scale to 800. Once we have selected a texture, we can click on the OK button. Now under Sky, we can click the box next to Texture, and then we can select a texture for the sky. For this example, I am selecting the Sky Cloudy texture. Once we have selected a texture, we can click on the OK button, and then we can click on the OK button in the Modify 3D View window. So now the 3D view has grass and a sky. Now to create some walls, we can click the Create Walls button, which is the second button to the right of the mouse button, and then we can click on the OK button. If we want to freehand creating the walls, then we can do a left click in the Home plan, drag the mouse to make a wall as big as we'd like, and then left click again to add another wall. Here I am adding a few more walls. Once we get back to the point where we started, we can double click. If we accidentally do a single click, then we can press the escape key to stop making walls. In the 3D view, we can see the walls we added to the design. As an alternative to freehanding it, we can type in exact dimensions to create the walls. To undo what we've done, we can go to the Edit menu and select Undo. Note that you can also do Ctrl-Z on your keyboard to undo. To redo an action, we can go back to the Edit menu and select Redo. Note that we can also do Ctrl-Y to redo. Now here I did Ctrl-Z to undo creating the walls. Now with the Create Walls tool still selected, we can click inside the home plan once and then don't move the mouse. After that, we can press Enter. Here in the blue box, we can set the position of the first point. So here I am typing 0 for X. Then we can press the Tab key on our keyboard to switch to the Y position. Again, I am typing in 0. Setting the starting point will move the circle on the home plan. Now we can move the mouse in the direction we want the wall to go, press Enter, and then type the dimension for the length of the wall. Note you can press the Tab key to switch between the length, angle, and thickness. When we are satisfied with the dimensions of the wall, we can press Enter. Now we can repeat this process for the rest of the walls. So we can move the mouse in the direction that we want the wall to go in, press Enter, type the dimension for the length of the wall, press Enter to start making the next wall, and so on. To modify an existing wall, we can click the Select button with the mouse icon from the top, select the wall that is to be modified, then hover the mouse at either end of the wall until we get a square icon. After that, we can hold a left click and drag the mouse to adjust the length of the wall. In addition to that, we can hover the mouse towards the middle of the wall until we get an up and down arrow, then hold a left click and drag. Here we can give the wall a curve. Now for more precision control, we can instead select a wall, right click on it, select Modify Walls, and then in the window that comes up, we can adjust the position and size of the wall from the top, and then near the bottom, we can also set an arc angle if we want the wall to have a curve. If we made any modifications, we would then click the OK button to apply the changes. Since I didn't change anything, I am going to click the Cancel button. Here I did Ctrl-Z to undo the changes I made to the wall. Now that we have walls, let's define this area as a room. To do that, we can click the Create Rooms button, which is to the right of the Create Walls button. After that, we can click on the OK button. Now in the Home plan, we can double-click inside an enclosed space, and now we have a floor! Now that we've created a room, let's make it a bit less blank. To do that, we can click the Select button with the mouse icon from the top. Then we can click inside the enclosed space, right-click on it, and select Modify Rooms. From the Modify Rooms window, we can set the name of this room. For this example, I am naming it Bedroom. Here we can also set the color or texture of the floor, ceiling, walls, and we can even add a baseboard. For this example, under Floor, I am going to click the Texture box, and then for the texture, I am going to select Wood Birch. Again, I will show how to import more textures later in this video. After that, I am going to click on the OK button. Next up under Ceiling, I am clicking the box next to Color, and I am changing the ceiling color to a light gray. After that, I am clicking on the OK button. Next, for wall sides around the room, I am clicking on the box next to Color. And here I am typing in a specific hexadecimal for a bright purple color. When I'm done doing that, I'm clicking on the OK button. And finally, if we want baseboards, we can check Add Baseboard. For this example, for the baseboards, I am clicking the box next to color, and then I am setting the baseboard color to white. Once I've done that, I'm going to click on the OK button, and then to apply all the changes we've made, we can click on the OK button in the Modify Rooms window. Now the room is looking a lot more like an actual room. Next, we are going to add some furniture. To add furniture, we can simply drag and drop the furniture from the furniture catalog into the home plan. For devices running Debian 13, you may need to import the additional furniture libraries that we installed earlier. To do that, we can go to the Furniture menu from the top left and select Import Furniture Library. I recommend clicking the Details button from the top right of the window that comes up to make it easier to scroll through files. Now in this window, we can click the Look In drop-down, select /, and then from the list of folders, we can click on the USR folder. Note that you'll need to click directly on the name of the folder in order to navigate into it. After that, we can go into the Share folder. Then here we can scroll down and go into the Sweet Home 3D folder. From the Sweet Home 3D folder, we can go into the Furniture folder. To see the full file names, we can drag the edge of the name column to make it wider. Here we can see these files are .sh3f files. These are the Sweet Home 3D furniture libraries that we installed earlier. From here we can select the first .sh3f file that we see in the list, and then click the Open button. After that, we can click on the OK button. Here we should see there are some new furniture models that have been added to the furniture catalog. Now we need to repeat this in order to import the rest of the libraries. To do that, we can go back to the Furniture menu from the top and select Import Furniture Library. Note that the File Explorer that comes up will start where we were last time, so we won't need to navigate back to the furniture libraries. This time, we can select the next .sh3f file in the list. After that, we can click the Open button, and then we can click the OK button. Here I am importing the rest of the furniture libraries. Now in the furniture catalog from the top left, we can view categories and search for furniture. For this example, I am clicking the category drop-down, and here I am selecting the doors and windows category. From here, I am going to add an exterior door by holding a left click on the door I want, and then I am going to drag it into the home plan. In the 3D view, we can see the door I added. Sweet Home 3D automatically has magnetism enabled, so everything snaps into place. If you want magnetism disabled, then you can click the magnet button from the top to toggle magnetism off. Now that there's a way to get into the house with the door, let's add a bed. To do that, I am clicking on the category drop-down from the top left. Then I am selecting all, and from here I am going to search for bed. Now from the search results, I am going to drag the bed that I like into the home plan. From the 3D view, we can see the bed I added. To move any piece of furniture that is already in the home plan, we can simply hold a left click on the furniture and drag the mouse. When a piece of furniture is selected, each corner allows us to do a specific action. If we hover the mouse over the corner that changes the mouse into a square icon, we can hold a left click and then drag the mouse to adjust the width and depth of the selected furniture. To adjust the height, we can hover the mouse over the corner that changes the mouse into an up and down arrow, then hold a left click and drag the mouse up and down to adjust the height. Next, the corner that changes the mouse into circular arrows will allow us to rotate the furniture by holding a left click and dragging the mouse. Finally, the last corner that changes the mouse into an arrow pointing down will allow us to change the elevation by holding a left click and dragging the mouse up or down. Here I am showing a fast forward of adding more furniture. In a moment, I'll show how we can make more modifications to furniture, such as changing the color and textures. Note that you can do Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V to copy and paste a piece of selected furniture. To delete a piece of selected furniture, we can press the backspace key. Keep in mind, when searching for furniture in the furniture catalog, we need to clear the search if we want to see everything in the selected category. Now before we do anything else, let's save our work by going to the File menu from the top left, and then select Save. Here we can set the file name and location. For this example, I am saving the file to my home directory and I am naming it My Room. Once we've done that, we can click on the Save button. Note that you can also do Ctrl-S on your keyboard for a quick and easy way to save the project. Next, I am going to show how we can edit furniture. To do that, we can select a piece of furniture, right-click on it, and then select Modify Furniture. Note that you can also do Ctrl-E as a quick way to modify a piece of selected furniture. In the Modify Furniture window, we can change many aspects such as color, size, textures, visibility of different parts, shininess, and more. If we want to modify specific parts of a piece of furniture, then under Color and Texture, we can click the Modify button next to Materials. Here we can adjust how specific parts of an individual piece of furniture looks. For example, if I didn't like the blankets on the bed, then I could select the blanket from the Model Materials list, and then I could select Invisible so it doesn't show. Now for this example, I want to modify the base of the bed. So with the bed veng selected, I am going to click the box next to Color. Here I am going to set the color of the base to black. Once I am done doing that, I am going to click on the OK button. After that, I am also going to change the color of the pillows by selecting the pillows. To select multiple materials at once, we can select one of the materials we want to modify, hold the Ctrl key, and select any other materials we want to modify. After that, I am clicking the box next to Color again, and this time I am going to change the color of the pillows to a greenish blue color. When I'm done with that, I am going to click the OK button. Keep in mind you can hold a left click and drag the mouse in the 3D view to see how the furniture looks. Now that I am done modifying the bed, I am going to click the other OK buttons to finish editing, and we can see my changes have been applied. Here I am showing a fast forward of modifying the colors and textures of the furniture in my room. Finally, we can also combine furniture. For this example, I am going to combine this whole desk setup. First, I am going to zoom in on the desktop setup in my home plan so it'll be easier to select everything. To group furniture, we can first click on a blank space in the home plan to ensure nothing else is selected. After that, we can hold Shift on our keyboard, and then select the furniture we want grouped together. Once we've done that, we can right-click on one of the selected pieces of furniture, and then select Group Furniture. So now I can move the whole desk setup at once. If you need to edit an individual piece of furniture that is in a group, then from the Home Furniture list from the bottom left, we can click the icon that is to the left of the group. After that, we can select an individual piece of furniture, right-click on it, and select Modify Furniture. Now we can just modify the selected individual piece of furniture from the group. Next, I am going to cover how we can import furniture and textures. Earlier in this video, in the Add Furniture section, I covered how to import a furniture library. To import an individual piece of furniture, we need a compatible file format, which can be a .obj, .dae, .kmz, or a .3ds file. So if we create a 3D model in a CAD program such as FreeCAD, then we can export the model as a .obj file. Here I have FreeCAD running with the example model of a cube that I used in my 3D printing video. I will have a link to that video in the pinned comment. In FreeCAD, to export a .obj file, we can first go to the Model tab on the left side, select the model that we want to export. Then after that, we can go to the File menu, select Export. Then in the window that comes up, we can select where to save the file, set the file name, and then for the Files of Type dropdown, we can select the .obj file format. When we are done doing that, we can click on the Save button. If the CAD software you are using can only export a .stl file, then that's okay because we can convert a .stl file into a .obj file by using Prusa Slicer. To install Prusa Slicer from a terminal, you can execute sudo apt install prusa-slicer-y. Now to convert a .stl file into a .obj file from a terminal, we can first navigate to where the .stl file is located. For this example, I am executing cd space single quote 3D space models single quote. This will take me into my 3D models folder. After that, we can execute ls to list the files. Here we can see my cube.stl file. To convert the .stl file, we can execute prusa-slicer space --export-obj space -o space the name we would like the .obj file to have, space the name of the .stl file that we want to convert. So this command is going to convert my cube.stl file into a .obj file named mycube.obj. When that's done, we can execute ls to list the files. Here we can see the mycube.obj file that I created. Now from Sweet Home 3D, to import an individual piece of furniture, we can go to the Furniture menu, select Import Furniture. Then in the window that comes up, click the Choose Model button. And here we can navigate to where the .obj file is located, then select the .obj file, and click on the Open button. To rotate the view of the model we are importing, we can hold a left click in the box and drag the mouse. Once we have verified the model is the one we want to import, we can click on the Continue button. If needed, we can click the arrow buttons to correct the orientation for the right, front, and top views. When we are done with that, we can click the Continue button. Next, we can set the name of the furniture being imported. For this example, I am setting the name to my cube. Next, if needed, we can check Add to Catalog and select a category or add it to a new category by typing in a name for the new category. For this example, I am selecting the User category. In addition to that, we can also set the name of the creator. After that, we can set the size of the furniture we are importing. For this example, I am going to set the size of the cube so it is 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. Lastly, if we want to change the color, then we can click the box next to Color. Here we can select the color we want. After selecting a color, we can click the OK button. When we are satisfied with these settings, we can click on the Continue button. Finally, if we want to change the view of what the piece of furniture will look like in the catalog, then we can hold a left click in the box and drag the mouse. After that, we can click on the Finish button. The imported furniture is usually automatically added to the home plan. If we want to remove it from the home plan, then we can select the piece of furniture from the furniture list on the bottom left, right-click on it, and select Delete. Now for this example, if I go to the category dropdown, I can select User, and here we can see the cube model that I imported. Here I am dragging the cube into my home plan so it is on top of the desk. After that, I am zooming in to get a better view of the cube in the 3D view. Now notice the cube is kind of floating. This can happen when we group furniture together like I did earlier when I grouped this desk setup. To fix that, I am going to select the cube from the home furniture list. Then I am going to drag it into my group of furniture. After that, I am going to right-click on the cube, and then I am going to select Reset Elevation. So now my cube is no longer floating. Now I am going to cover how to import an individual texture and a texture library. To import an individual texture, we need either a .bmp, .jpeg, .gif, or a .png file. If needed, you can convert an image into one of those compatible formats with FFmpeg. To install FFmpeg from a terminal, you can execute sudo apt install ffmpeg-y. Then with FFmpeg in a terminal, you can convert an image by executing ffmpeg -i space the image you want to convert, space the name you want the converted image to have, one of the compatible file extensions that can be used for a texture in Sweet Home 3D. Now to import an individual texture into Sweet Home 3D, we can go to the Furniture menu, select Import Texture, and in the window that comes up, we can click on the Choose Image button. From here, we can navigate to where the image is located, select the image we want to import, then click the Open button. If an image is large, then we will get a warning that it can reduce performance. If needed, you can click the Reduce Size button. For this example, I clicked the Keep Unchanged button. The image I selected is an image I created with GIMP, and then I used the Texturize filter in GIMP so that the image could be tiled. I will have a link to my GIMP install video linked in the pinned comment. Once we have opened the image we want to import, we can click the Continue button. Here we can set the name of the texture, then select or create a category for where we want the texture to be. After that, we can also set the name of the creator, and lastly, we can set the width and height of the texture. When we are done adjusting the texture, we can click on the Finish button. Now I am going to change the texture of the floor to be the texture I imported. To do that, I am going to select the room, then I am going to right-click inside the room, where I am then going to select Modify Rooms. After that, in the Modify Rooms window, I am going to click on the current texture for the floor, and then I am going to select the texture I imported. Once I have selected the texture, I am going to click on the OK button, and then I am going to click the second OK button to apply the change. So now I have a fun, vibrant floor texture. Now I will show how we can import a texture library. To do that, we can first download a texture library by opening a browser, then go to sweethome3d.com. This is the official website for Sweet Home 3D. From the Sweet Home 3D website, we can click Textures from the left side. After that, from this page, we can click the textures-contributions.zip file. This will take us to the Sweet Home 3D SourceForge page. Here we can wait a moment or two for the texture library to download. When that's done, we can close out of the browser. Now to import the texture library that we downloaded, we need to extract it out of the .zip file. To do that, we can open a terminal. Then here we can navigate to where we downloaded the .zip file. Since my .zip file is in my Downloads folder, I am going to execute cd space downloads. After that, we can execute ls to list the files. Here we can see the .zip file. To extract the files, I will be using 7-zip. If 7-zip is not already installed on your device, then you can execute sudo apt install 7zip-y. Now for our next command, we are going to execute 7z space x space the name of the .zip file. Rather than typing out the whole name of the file, we can highlight the name of the file, do Ctrl-Shift-C to copy it, and then do Ctrl-Shift-V to paste. So this command will use 7-zip to extract all of the files out of the .zip file. When that's done, we can do ls to list the files. This time we will see a .sh3t texture library file. Now that we have extracted the file, we can close out of the terminal. From Sweet Home 3D, we can now go to the Furniture menu, select Import Textures Library. Then in the window that comes up, we can navigate to where the texture library file is located, select the .sh3t file, click the Open button, then click the OK button. Now we have a lot more textures we can use. For example, I am selecting the window from my home plan, then I am doing Ctrl-E to modify it. After that, under Color and Texture, I am clicking the Modify button. Then with the transparent part of the window selected, I am clicking the box next to Texture. Here we can see we have a lot more textures to choose from. For this example, I am selecting the stained glass texture, and then I am clicking all the OK buttons to apply the change. In the 3D view, we can see my window now has a colorful stained glass look. For fun, I rendered a high-resolution photo of the room I created as another example of what we can design in Sweet Home 3D. In this example for the lighting, I set the light power of the work lamp on the desk and the floor up light to 15%, and then I added 3 incandescent light bulbs throughout the room. For the 3 incandescent light bulbs, I had set the light power to 30%. Additionally, from testing, I also lessened the shininess for some furniture materials such as the covers and pillows for the bed. With that in mind, this is the result I got after rendering a high-quality photo of this design. Next, I am going to show how we can add dimensions to the home plan and print everything to PDF. To add dimensions, we can click the Dimensions button from the top that has the number 10 along with a plus symbol. After that, we can click the OK button. Now in the home plan, we can move the mouse towards a piece of furniture or towards a wall. For walls, if we want the inner dimensions, we can move the mouse towards the inside part of the wall. To get the outer dimensions, we can move the mouse towards the outside of the wall. After that, we can double-click, move the mouse outwards, then do one more left click to add the dimension. Here I added a few more dimensions. To move an existing dimension, we can first click the Select button with the mouse icon from the top, then select the dimension we want to move. Hover the mouse towards the center of the dimension until the mouse turns into an up and down arrow. Then we can hold a left click and drag the dimension where we want it. Keep in mind you can move the compass in the home plan. In addition to that, if we hover the mouse to the side of the compass that turns the mouse into circular arrows, then we can do a left click and drag the mouse to rotate the compass. Lastly, if we hover the mouse over the side of the compass that turns the mouse into a square icon, then we can do a left click and drag the mouse to resize the compass. Here I did Ctrl-Z to undo the changes I made to the compass. Now to print our design to PDF, we can first go to the File menu from the top left, select Page Setup, and here we can format how everything will be printed out. So from here we can click the Page Format button. After that, we can click on the Size drop-down and select the page size we want. If the home plan is wider than it is tall, then I recommend setting the orientation to landscape. In addition to that, we can also set the page margins. For this example, I am setting all the margins to 1/2 inch. Note that if you adjust the page margins, then make sure to click inside another margin text box to apply the change of the one you just edited. When we are done adjusting the page format, we can click the OK button. Finally, if you don't want the furniture list or 3D view included in the PDF, then you can uncheck Print Furniture List and Print 3D View. For devices running Debian 12, the Print 3D View option will be grayed out. After that, we can click the OK button. Now to print our design to PDF, we can go to the File menu and select Print to PDF. Here we can navigate to where we want to save the PDF as well as name it. Once we've done that, we can click the Save button. After that's done, I am opening a file manager where I am navigating to the PDF I just printed. Here I opened the PDF with QPDFView, which can be installed by installing QPDFView. So this is an example of a Sweet Home 3D PDF that has the furniture list, home plan, and the 3D view. Now I am going to show how we can modify the outside color or texture of the walls. To do that, we need to select all the walls that we want to modify. Note that zooming in on the home plan can make it easier to select the walls. From the home plan, we can first click on a blank space to make sure nothing else is selected. After that, we can hold the Shift key on our keyboard, and then we can select all the walls we want to modify. If we accidentally select something that is not a wall, then that's okay because we can just click on the object we selected again to unselect it. Once we have selected all the walls we want to modify, we can then right-click on one of the selected walls and select Modify Walls. At the top of the window that comes up, we can see there's a left and right side. For the side that does not already have a color or texture set, we are going to click on the box next to Texture. From here, we can select a texture for the outside of the walls. For my example, I am selecting the Wall Red Bricks texture. When we are done doing that, we can click the OK buttons to apply the change. Here in the 3D view, we can see the outside of my walls now have a red brick texture. Next, I am going to show how we can add a level. To do that, we can go to the Plan menu near the top left, and under Levels, we can click Add Level. Once we've done that, a new tab will be added to the home plan. If we want to delete a level, then we can select the tab of the level that we want to delete, right-click on the Level tab, and select Delete Selected Level. Now here the home plan disappears. Don't panic if this happens because we can fix this by doing Ctrl S to save any changes we made, close out of Sweet Home 3D, then reopen Sweet Home 3D. Once Sweet Home 3D is open, we can go to the File menu, select Open, then select the Sweet Home 3D project that we created, click the Open button, and then wait a moment or two for the project to open. Once the project is open, we can see the home plan is restored. Now that we know how to restore the home plan, let's add a level again by going to the Plan menu, and under Levels, we can click Add Level. Now that we have added a level, let's modify the levels. To do that, we can first select the Level 0 tab from the home plan, right-click on the selected tab, and then click on Modify Selected Level. In the window that comes up, we can set the name of this level to whatever we would like. For this example, I am naming this level Bedroom. Once we've done that, we can click the OK button. Now we are going to modify the level we added by selecting the Level 1 tab, right-click on it, and click Modify Selected Level. Again, we can set the name of this level to whatever we would like. For my example, I am naming this level Roof. For this level, I will be demonstrating an example method for creating a roof. With that in mind, we can set the elevation of the roof level to be the sum of the elevation and height of the level below it. At the bottom of this window, there's the levels summary. This shows the elevation, floor thickness, and height of all the levels in this project. Here we can see the sum of the elevation and height of the level that is below my roof level is 8 feet 2 3/8 inches. Now that I know that, I am going to set the elevation of the roof level to 8 feet 2 3/8 inches. If you are using a unit of measurement that includes fractions, like in my example, then you can use the up and down arrow buttons to adjust the elevation by a fraction of an inch. When we are done doing that, we can click the OK button. Now I am going to demonstrate an example method for creating a roof. In this example, the roof will be made up of multiple triangles. First, from the furniture catalog, we can click the category drop-down, select all, then we can search for triangle. After that, from the search results, we can drag the triangle into the home plan. For now, we can ignore the placement of the triangle. This triangle is going to be used for creating one side of the larger triangle shape. For this example, we are going to set the width of this triangle so it is a bit over half the width of the wall. So when we are viewing the roof from the front triangle side, the bottom of the roof will be wider than the building below it. Here I am viewing my bedroom level, and for my shorter wall we can see it is about 12 feet. Now to edit the triangle, we can select the triangle from the home plan, right-click on it, and select Modify Furniture. Under Size, we are going to set the width to be a little over half the length of one of the walls from the level below it, which for my example is 7 feet. After that, we are going to set the depth to 6 feet. This is the equivalent of 1.83 meters. Now that we have set the size, we are going to click the Modify button under Color and Texture. From here, under the Model Materials, we can select the Slope, click the box next to Texture, and from here we can select the Rough Round Blue Slates texture. Now to correct the orientation and size of the texture, we are going to set the angle to 270 degrees, and then set the scale to 50%. Once we've done that, we can click the OK button. So now the top of the triangle looks like a roof. Next, in the list of model materials, we are going to select Back, hold the Control key, then select the rest of the materials except for the slope. Once we've done that, we can click the box next to Color. Then from here we can select a color. For this example, I am choosing a dark gray color. When we are finished with that, we can click the OK button. Now the triangle looks a lot more like a part of the roof we are creating. Since we are done editing the triangle, we can click the other OK buttons to apply all the changes we made. Here in the 3D view, we can see the changes we made to the triangle. Next, we can hover the mouse over the corner of the triangle until the mouse turns into circular arrows, and then we can rotate the triangle so it is orientated in the right direction with the home design. Now with the triangle still selected, we are going to do Ctrl-C to copy it, then do Ctrl-V to paste it. With the pasted triangle, we are going to move it next to the other triangle so it snaps in place to the side of the other triangle. For now, don't worry about the triangles being perfectly lined up. After that, we can do Ctrl-V again to paste another triangle, then place it next to the side of another triangle until it snaps in place to the side of the other triangle. Here we are going to repeat this until the length of the triangles are longer than the wall from the level below, like so. When we are done doing that, we can click a blank space in the home plan, hold the Shift key on our keyboard, and then we can select all the triangles in the home plan. Once we've done that, we can right-click on one of the selected triangles, and under Align or Distribute Furniture, we can select Align on Left Side. So now the triangles are all lined up. With all the triangles still selected, we are going to right-click on one of the selected triangles, and select Group Furniture. Now all the triangles can be moved at once and we have half the roof done. Now with the group of triangles still selected, we can do Ctrl-C to copy it, and then do Ctrl V to paste. Here I am moving the half of the roof that we pasted so we can see everything, and then I am rotating the 3D view so we can get a better view of what I am doing. After that, we can rotate one of the groups so that the tall sides of each half are facing each other like so. Then after that, we can move the selected group so that it snaps along the side of the other group. To align the two groups with each other, we can hold the Shift key on our keyboard, select the other group, right-click on one of the selected groups, then under Align or Distribute Furniture, we can click Align Side by Side. Now the two halves of the roof are aligned. Finally, we can right-click one of the selected groups again, then select Group Furniture. Now we can move the whole roof at once. With the assembled roof selected, we are going to move it in the home plan so it overlaps the building below. If the roof is snapping into places where we don't want it, then we can click the button with the magnet icon from the top to disable magnetism. So now we can freely move the roof where we want it. If needed, you can adjust the width, depth, and height of the roof like we would with any other object in the home plan. Note that you can also use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move the roof with more control. It can also be helpful to show all the levels in the 3D view by right-clicking in the 3D view and select Display All Levels. Here I am checking to see if the roof is centered on all sides. So now we know a method we can use for creating a roof. Finally, I am going to add a few things to the exterior as an example. If we want to add a car, then we can click the category drop-down from the furniture catalog, select Vehicles, clear the search so we can see everything in the Vehicles category, and then we can drag and drop a car into the home plan. Now here my car is flying. This happened because I am on the roof level. So with the car selected in my home plan, I am going to press the backspace key to delete it. Then from the home plan, I am going to select the bedroom level tab. And again, I am going to drag and drop a car into my home plan. This time the car does not float. Here I re-enabled magnetism and moved the car to where I wanted. Now I want the car to be parked on a driveway. To create a driveway, we can click the category drop-down from the furniture catalog, select all, then search for box. From here we can drag and drop the white box into the home plan. After that, we can adjust the height of the box so it is the lowest it can be. Once we've done that, we can then adjust the width and depth to our liking. Here I also moved it to where I wanted it. With the box still selected, we can right-click on it, then select Modify Furniture. In the window that comes up under Shininess, we can select Matte. After that, we can click the box next to Color, and then we can select a gray color. When we are done doing that, we can click the OK buttons to apply the changes. Notice that the box is overlapping the car in the home plan. This makes it difficult to select and move the car. To fix that, we can select the car from the furniture list on the bottom left, right-click on it, and select Reset Elevation. Now the box no longer overlaps the car in the home plan. Finally, I am going to add a tree. To add a tree, we can click the category drop-down from the top of the furniture catalog, select Exterior, then search for tree. After that, we can drag and drop a tree into the home plan. Here we can adjust the size and positioning to our liking. Fun tip, we can copy and paste parts of a design from one project to another. For example, in the demo I opened earlier, if I want this whole table setup apart from the flowers, then I can hold the Shift key, and then I can select the table and chairs. Once I've done that, I am doing Ctrl-C to copy the selected pieces of furniture. Then in the project I created, I can click in the Home plan. Then I can do Ctrl-V to paste. And lastly, I can move the pasted furniture to where I want it. This can be useful for reusing parts of another design. For fun, I adjusted the 3D view and created a high-quality photo for the outside of this design. For the photo, I set the time to 15 o'clock, and I also unchecked Add Ceiling Lights. On my Chromebook, this photo took about 10 minutes to render for this design. The image I am showing here is the resulting photo I got for this design with the settings I used. Now I am going to show some different sources of documentation that we can get for Sweet Home 3D. First, there's the built-in help, which we can get to by going to the Help menu in Sweet Home 3D, and then select Sweet Home 3D Help. To make the built-in help full screen, we can do Alt F11 on our keyboard. Here we can get a lot of great overall information for Sweet Home 3D. Here I am doing Alt F11 to exit out of full screen, and then I am closing out of the built-in help. Also, in the Help menu in Sweet Home 3D, we can also select About, and from About we can click on the Libraries button, which will show all the furniture and texture libraries that have been imported. Clicking the file hyperlink will navigate to where the library is located. If you ever want to remove a library, then you can delete its corresponding folder from here. Next up, we have SweetHome3D.com. This is the official website for Sweet Home 3D. From the list on the left side, we can click on User's Guide. This has some more in-depth documentation on how to use Sweet Home 3D. From their website, we can also click on Video Tutorials from the list on the left. This page contains a few of the Sweet Home 3D video tutorials. From the list on the left side, we can also click on Tips and Tricks. This page has a nice list of tutorials and tips such as how to design your own garden, tips on making lighting more realistic, and more. After that, we can also click 3D models from the list on the left. This page covers additional furniture libraries that can be imported. Next, in the Sweet Home 3D website, we can click on Textures from the list on the left. The Textures page includes more texture libraries that we can download and import. Finally, we can click on Forum from the same list on the left. This is where we can ask questions related to Sweet Home 3D. Last but not least, there is youtube.com/@SweetHome3D. This is the official YouTube channel for Sweet Home 3D. Note that selectively applying a texture to a part of an object will generally create distortions. This is why for the roof example earlier, I created smaller triangles and grouped them together. For a quicker example of working around this, we can instead resize a triangle so it is as big as we want, and then apply a roof texture to the whole triangle at once like I did here. After that, we can select the triangle in the Home plan, do Ctrl-C to copy it, then do Ctrl-V to paste it. With the pasted triangle still selected, we can do Ctrl-E to modify it. From here, we can set the depth to be the smallest it can possibly be. If you are using a unit of measurement that utilizes fractions, then you can also use the arrow buttons to make the triangle as skinny as possible. After that, under Color and Texture, we can click the box next to Color, and select whatever color we would like the ends of the roof to have. For this example, I am selecting a dark gray color. When we are finished with that, we can click all the OK buttons to apply the changes we made. From the 3D view, we can see the triangle is now super skinny and it has the color we selected. From the home plan, we can move the skinny triangle so it snaps along either end of the large triangle like so. For now, don't worry about alignment, we will be fixing that in a moment. With the skinny triangle still selected, we can do Ctrl+C to copy it, then do Ctrl+V to paste it. Here we can move the pasted triangle until it snaps along the other side of the larger triangle. Now, from the furniture list, we can select one of the triangles, hold the Ctrl key, then select the other two triangles. After that, we can right-click one of the selected triangles from the furniture list, and under Align or Distribute Furniture, we can select Align on Left Side. Now the triangles are perfectly lined up. Now that the triangles are lined up, we can right-click one of the selected triangles from the furniture list again, and select Group Furniture. With the group of triangles selected, we can do Ctrl+C to copy the group, then do Ctrl+V to paste. In the home plan, we can rotate either group of triangles so that the tall sides are facing each other. From here, we can then move either group so it snaps along the side of the other group. After that, while we still have a group already selected, we can hold the Shift key, select the other group, then we can right-click either group, and under Align or Distribute Furniture, we can click Align Side by Side. Finally, we can right-click either group again, select Group Furniture, and now we have a roof! Note that these methods are just an example and you can create a roof with any method that works for the design you are creating. Companion books to my series of videos are available. I will have those linked in the pinned comment. And that's all for this video, so thank you for watching and I'll see you soon!